Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, April 7th. I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us. Well, a freak school bus accident in Beltsville injures several elementary school children, including one who was stuck under a bus. It happened just after 7 this morning on Powder Mill Road in Beltsville. Police say the driver pulled over at High Point High School and left several students on the bus alone. Police say the vehicle then drifted across Powder Mill Road and onto the sidewalk, where it ran over an 8-year-old child who was waiting for a bus.
He was stuck under the vehicle. He was not pinned as originally reported. He was stuck under there, and thankfully a citizen came by and pulled him from under the bus.
And 2 students were taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 3 others were also transported for observation. The bus driver has been arrested and faces multiple charges, including reckless endangerment and leaving a child unattended. He has been identified as 61-year-old Arturo Harris of Clinton. Well, it's the final day of session for lawmakers in Annapolis, and they are busy putting the finishing touches on a number of hot-button issues, including marijuana decriminalization and the minimum wage. So how will you be impacted by this and other legislation? Denise Douglas has the answers in this end of the session wrap-up.
A number of bills passed the General Assembly this session, including one on domestic violence, the estate tax, and transgender discrimination. I've got a list right here, but there were also some specific measures that will impact Prince George's County. I talked with a number of lawmakers about what they are and exactly how they will affect the county.
Well, I think the county had a very successful session. We obviously have a commitment from the state to continue the funding and to come up with a very strong and solid finance plan for our regional medical center, which is a big priority back home. We also will be having some work done to make sure that we have the best possible financing strategies for school construction.
I'm happy about some money that we are bringing back for some other projects, $1 million for Bowie State, $500,000 for some projects in Suitland, and to help with the redevelopment going on down there. There's I think about $1 million going to a lacrosse field in Bowie. So the whole county was kind of taken care of with certain projects.
The next General Assembly session starts in January. I'm Denise Douglas in Annapolis, CTV News.
And Maryland low-wage workers get a boost. The General Assembly has passed a statewide minimum wage increase. Under the measure, one of the governor's top priorities, the minimum wage, will increase to $10.10 an hour by 2018. According to one supporter, the hike will help workers become more engaged with their families and communities.
And when you invest more in your community, you tend to be a better citizen. You tend to be stable. You tend to really invest more in your community, not just in terms of dollars and cents, but how much you get involved, how much you come out and participate with your children's schools, things like that. So being more connected to your community because you're getting paid enough to stay in the community is very important.
It means that over the next several years, as the minimum wage goes up to $10.10 an hour, we'll be lifting hundreds of thousands of families out of poverty. I think the other thing that this means is this demonstrates the power of grassroots organizing and lobbying. Last year, our bill died in committee 8-3. This year, it passed both chambers with overwhelming support. It's really the result of the hard work and dedication of countless activists in the Raise Maryland Coalition.
And the governor is expected to sign the measure into law within days. Well, it appeared the marijuana decriminalization bill was dead. However, several legislators fought to revive it. In a 78-55 vote over the weekend, lawmakers in the House of Delegates passed a measure that would make possession of small quantities of the drug punishable by only a fine. The Senate had already voted in favor of a similar bill. Several House members explained why they brought the legislation back to the floor.
We know that we have nearly 30,000 people who are locked up for minor possession offenses. We know that the collateral consequences of that are that individuals can't get loans to go to school. They're unable to, get jobs and care for themselves and their families. So this is a really important bill because this is giving people an opportunity to get it right and to move forward with their lives.
We turned the page on our outdated marijuana laws here in Maryland. They are enforced with racial bias. They detract our law enforcement from focusing on more violent and serious crimes. There's a significant revenue savings for the state in making this decision as well. I believe this is just a first step in addressing our failed war on drugs. I want to see us go to do full legalization.
And there were at least 2 changes in the House version of the bill, including the amount of the fine and a mandate for drug treatment. The Senate will have to vote on those compromises before it goes to the governor's desk. Well, a judge denies a defendant's jury sentencing motion in what could have set a new precedent. Daryl Ballard faces 4 counts of murder and related charges for allegedly shooting 2 women and their children in retaliation for an unpaid drug debt. The bodies of the 4 victims were found in an apartment above a garage. Prosecutors were originally seeking the death penalty, which would have given Ballard the right to have a jury perform the sentencing instead of a judge. But the state abolished corporal punishment last year, and he now faces a maximum sentence of life without parole. Jury selection and opening arguments are expected to begin tomorrow. If convicted, a trial judge will conduct the sentencing. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.